But this isn't regular. This isn't that I'm single and lonely no loneliness. Oh no, no. This is a special kind of hurt. The loneliness you feel when you're already in a committed, loving marriage. So let's talk about a couple. We're gonna call them Mark and Sarah. I like Mark and Sarah's names. Mark's job sends him away for a year, and they think, yeah, we got this. We're strong. We've got FaceTime. We've got texting. The first few weeks feel new, almost exciting. They're sending pictures, having long video calls, and texting. I miss you all day long. Feels like they can handle it. But then slowly things start to change, right? And it always does. Those good night calls, they start to change. They start to feel less like a sweet ritual and more like a required check in. The time difference is a monster. One of them is always beat down, tired, and the other one is just rushing to start the day. The conversation, which used to be so easy, gets tight. It circles the same old drain. How was your day? Good, busy, you, the rich, colorful life they built together. It just starts to look like a black and white checklist. Now, Sarah will be at a party, laughing with friends, and all of a sudden, this deep, hollow ache hits her right in the chest. She sees other couples holding hands, sharing a joke with just a look, and this is going to hit her. It's going to hit her hard. It's not just that Mark isn't there, it's that his absence is there. It's a feeling, a presence, all on its own. Now, she's living a life he's not really in anymore. And that little digital window that they have into each other's worlds starts to feel like looking at an old photo instead of sharing a real moment. That's the toll loneliness takes on a long distance marriage. It's the feeling of being cut off from your main source of comfort, your person. We're built to be calmly by the person we love. When they're not there, all those little moments are gone. A hand on your back in the kitchen, a shared sight on the couch. And without that, you can feel anxious all the time. Like there's a low hum of stress running under everything. And if you let that loneliness sit there, it turns into frustration. It turns into resentment. Why am I the one dealing with the broken sink? Why do I have to go to this wedding by myself? Why is their jobs more important than us? Those unspoken thoughts are poison. You both feel like you're carrying the weight of the world, and it starts to feel unfair. That everyday grind, the stuff that's easy, when you can tag team it, gets 10 times heavier when you're carrying it all by yourself. The energy that you're supposed to use to build up your relationship is all used up trying to get through the day. And soon, real connection feels like it's just too much work. Now, once loneliness digs a hole between you two, something uglier starts to crawl in. And that's insecurity. See, trust in a relationship isn't something you build once they're done. It's done. That's not true. No, no, no. You've got to nurture it every single day. When you're together, that happiness in a thousand little ways you don't even notice is coming home every night, sharing your lives, the looks that says it's you and me. When distance takes all that away, your mind tries to find its balance, and it doesn't always work. It starts to fill in the empty spaces with fear. Let's go back to Mark and Sarah's situation. One night, Sarah calls Mark at their usual time. Voicemail. She texts him an hour later. Nothing. Another hour. Right away, her mind starts to race. And this is the first thing that's going to come to her mind. Is he okay? Did something happen? But then the questions get darker. Who is he with? Why isn't he picking up? He said he was staying in. Is he lying? The logical part of her brain knows there are 100 good reasons. Phone died, fell asleep, a work thing he forgot to mention. But the emotional, insecure part of her brain, the part that's starved for reassurance, grabs onto the worst case scenario because your brain is looking for proof, for data. And when it can't find any, it just makes stuff up. And it never makes up a good stuff, does it? This is where the whole communication thing becomes a trap. You feel this pressure to be on for every single call, to be happy, to be engaged, even when you're exhausted. So you start putting on a show. You're not sharing your real self. You're sharing a highlight reel designed to make your partner feel secure. That act in and of itself is so draining. And when a little crack shows, a tired voice, a vague answer, distance blows it up into a huge deal. It gets twisted into he's not interested or she's hiding something. The other person feels it too. They start feeling like a detective, trying to piece together the clues from your text to figure out what's really going on. That lack of a shared life is a killer. When you're together, you know their coworkers, their friends, their routines. When you're apart, they're all just names in a story you can't see. An innocent comment about a new person at work can light a fire of jealousy that would have been put out with a simple handshake in person. This constant low grade anxiety eats away at you and your trust. Now you got one person playing detective and the other one feeling like they're on trial. Every conversation becomes a test, and you can't win that fight because the enemy isn't cheating. The enemy is the zip code. The distance isn't becoming the third person in the marriage, it's taking over and insecurity into both of your ears. That sets everything apart. All right, now we're at that real heart of the moment scenario, the core of the shocking statistics that we talk about. That over 40% of women feel emotional disconnect. This is what I call the silent drift. It's not a big, loud shipwreck. It's a slow, quiet current that pulls two ships apart until one day you can barely see each other on the horizon. And here's the craziest part: the one tool everyone tells you will save you, the communication, is often the thing that speeds up the drift. Everybody and their mama will tell you just gotta communicate all the time. So, what do? You text all day long. You schedule video calls every single night. You try to fill every second with talking, but you're focusing on the quantity of the talk, not the quality. And that's one of the things I've been talking to you guys about for the longest period of time is changing your communication, not just having communication. If you have quality, meaningful communication, you can say less and accomplish more. And there's been quite a few shows that I've covered where I've told you guys that 20% of the things that you do have 80% of impact, and 80% of the things that you do waste the majority of your time and only accomplishes 20% of your goals. You need to adjust that so that you're doing less and accomplishing more often. After a while, these check ins start to feel like a chore. The conversations get hollow. It becomes a list of events and logbooks. I went to some store. I had a meeting. I'm tired. This is not intimacy. This is a report. Special shout out to Michael. He said, I don't feed into her behavior. Hey, Mike, I tell you, when um, I'm communicating with somebody, especially when I'm not with them, I put a lot of effort into making sure that when I have time to talk to them, that they know what all is going on. I tell them where I've been, what I'm doing, who I was with, but that's a check-in list. I ask them what they've got going on with their life, and they'll tell me what's going on. That's another check-in list. I might give them a little bit of advice. That's lecturing. But when you really want to connect with the other person, when you really want to feed into the other person, what you really want to do is you want to have some kind of something that you guys can both relate to. And that's not something that we really do. We typically take turns checking in, telling each other about each other's days, and then we kind of just walk away from the conversation after that. We run out of things to talk about. All right, have a good night. See you tomorrow. Love you. Bye bye. And that's it. We never thought about something as simple as, and I'm going to be going through a lot of unorthodox ways so we can communicate with our partners over long distance. But just off the top of my head, before I forget it, one of the things that we've never thought about doing, for those of us that are capable of doing this, is read a story to our partner. We've never done that. You're in a long distance journey. You've got 30 minutes to kill. You pick up a book and say, "Hey, let's read this book together. I'll read this paragraph or this chapter, then you read this paragraph or this chapter, and then we can enjoy a book together." We're able to take turns listening to each other's voice, but we're not putting on a song and dance show that requires us to feel interrogated or feel like we're sleuthing the other person. Michael says it's for those who call you every single minute, every several minutes to see when you going to be home. Bro, I ain't got time for them. The one who gonna call me every 30 minutes, every 10, 20 minutes, what you doing? Where you at? I'll talk to you when I stop driving. I'll talk to you when I'm not in a crowd of people. I mean, while I'm on this podcast, I am very secretive, not because I keep secrets from my partner, but because I just don't want the world to know about everything that's going on with my life. And in that mindset, if I'm in a public place, there are certain things that I have to talk about on the phone. So no matter where I'm at, I'm just going to have this discussion. But then there are certain things where there's a time and a place. I don't have to have this discussion right now. So instead of me making a scene in this location, since my conversation that I'm having right now is not an emergency, I can wait until I'm in the car instead of talking about it in a grocery store or talking about this in the mall. I can wait until I get home and have this conversation at the house instead of having this conversation in public. And if I'm with a partner that wants me to communicate with them right now, especially since I use my cell phone to listen to music and you're calling me on my cell phone interrupting the music. Nah. So to do what? For me to put you on speakerphone and tell you that I'm on the road and give you the moment by moment GPS location of where I'm at? That's stupid. I can share you a link and you can watch that dot flicker up your phone and you can just wait till I get there. He said, thought you were married. No, sir. Definitely not. No, sir. No. Uh, I'm getting there. No. So the thing is, uh, So here on the podcast, we got a lot of trolls that come through, and some of them want to paint the picture that I'm married. Some of them want to paint the picture that I'm single. Some of them want to paint the picture that I'm an incel. Some of them want me to tell them all the details about what's going on in my life and the what's going on in my finances and everything to that effect. And as I said before, a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. He said, okay, that explains partner. Yes, that explains partner. So the thing is that when I'm giving you guys this information, I've done a lot of research and I know how these things work, and it does work. And whether or not I've got a wife in the house or a girlfriend in the house or a mistress in the house, however it looks like, the baby mama in the house or whatever, the idea is still the same. The person that you value, there's certain ways that you're supposed to treat them, and that is more effective. Now, some people will say, "Oh, well, if you're not married, you can't give advice." Sarah was on the show, and Sarah's a dating coach. Sarah's been married for almost 11 years, and she has four kids, if I remember correctly, and all of them are teenagers. And Sarah was on the show with me for 2 hours, co signing on everything I've ever taught you guys on the show. And that's one of the things that people don't pay attention to is that you don't have to to fit the mold in order to know how to get there. One of the things that people don't think about is uh in order for you to know what to do, you have to have experienced what not to do or have seen what not to do from somebody else, where you're learning from the mistakes of yourself or you're learning from the mistakes of others. You also learn how to do what needs to be done by watching the success of others if you're not observing your own success. A person that has never failed doesn't know how to adapt to failure. They just know that they've never failed. A person that has experienced failure knows how to adapt and see failure coming and pivot to prevent failure. So individuals typically reaching their middle ages that end up in a lot of relationships throughout their lives start learning how to manage those relationships. They start learning how to manage their interactions because the older they get, the more mature they become, the less foolishness they're willing to put up with, and the less ridiculous decisions they make impulsively. The older you get, the longer you can wait, the longer you can plan, the longer that you can devise better ways to approach a scenario instead of acting off of anger and fear. But there are a lot of people who still don't. He said, was that plural? Partners. Uh, a person that has never failed, never left home. Yeah, you're right about that, brother. You're right about that. A person that has never failed, well, a person that's never failed, never tried. There are a few people who can one hit wonder success. Repeating that, not always a thing. Even billionaires like Donald Trump and Elon Musk have failed plenty of times in their life, but they succeeded way more than they failed, which is the reason why they're billionaires and not broke. Even MC Hammer, y'all know MC Hammer by losing all of his money in IRS repossessions. But MC Hammer is still valued at $5 million right now, and he does not make music. So when you try and fail, you might not reach the heights that you were aiming for, but you do reach new heights. If you don't try, you don't go nowhere. You're always where you started at. That's like that Bible verse where God gave three guys a coin and one buried it, one did something with it and had gains, one did something with it and had losses, and Jesus was proud of the two that did something. You hear about that in church where they say, "Don't sit on your blessing." The fact is that in life, if you do not apply yourself to anything, you'll never know how it would have turned out. And if you don't take chances, you're not going to see any type of gain. But every chance has a risk, whether it's a low risk or a high risk. Michael says, you have to be a player and fall down. Success is getting back up and doing it again and again. That's life. You're right. And they got a song about that. You know, the difference between a saint and a sinner is one who fell and got back up. Because the sinner fell, the saint got back up. No different, except one fell off and stayed there. One got back up and got right. So yeah, when I give you guys this information, this situation does work for you guys. It's very effective. And as we march through this, you'll be able to see exactly how effective this is. Because when you come across that trap, uh, you mistake contact with connection. And that's one of the things that I've noticed. I used to be 30 years ago, like distant. I would prioritize work and family would just come second. And when I'm off from work, I would spend time with the family. I would communicate with them and hang out, but not nearly as much as I would these days. Um, these days, I can call a family member and be on the phone with them for hours. Uh, but do I take days off specifically to go have family time? I haven't gotten there yet. There are so many things that I'm doing in so many different areas where I don't prioritize that yet. But I've told you guys to find balance in your lives, your work life balance. So I know that work life balance would benefit my relationships with my family and my friends. But I also know that the goals that I'm trying to accomplish does not play to the tune of a balanced work life. I want to dig in a whole lot longer. And then when I receive uh, the plethora of success, then I can redirect spend more time away from work and more time with family. He says, right, it's called Nobody Loves Short People. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Now, a real intimacy isn't about how often that you talk, and this isn't something that people know. It's about how real and vulnerable you can be when you do talk. So when every talk is squeezed in between work and sleep, there's no space for the deep stuff. The conversations about your fears, your dreams, your insecurities, you stick to the safe, shallow end of the pool. You never go onto the deep side. And that's where the disconnect happens. You talk every day, but you feel like you don't even know your partner anymore. You know what they did, but you don't know how they felt about it. You know their schedule, but you don't know what's going on in their soul. And that hurts. It can make you feel unimportant, unloved, because you're not in the middle of their life. It feels like they're living a whole separate life and you've been downgraded from a spouse to an acquaintance. And let's not forget about physical intimacy. When it's gone, it's not just about sex, right? It's about losing that simple, we're a team, that signal that touch provides. It can make a marriage feel like a long distance friendship, and you're paying for this with your heart. Not a lot of people think about it like this. The silence that drifts between the two of you is dangerous because you don't see it happening. There's no big fight, it's just a slow fade. It's that moment you get great news, and the first person you think to call isn't your partner anymore. It's when you feel a wave of sadness and you reach out to a friend instead because it's just easier. You get used to handling your emotions by yourself, and the space they used to fill in your heart starts to get smaller. The slice between you gets louder, and It's not because you stopped talking to one another. You guys just really stop connecting. So the silence that and it's different when you're a person. You're able to have silence, like just existing in the same room watching a movie, or you know, reading the paper. You're reading the paper and she's reading the book, and one of you's got your head on the other person's lap or something like that. It's a situation where you guys can exist in the same place with a level of silence, a level of quiet silence. But when there's no emotions there, that's when it's a loud silence, something that not a lot of people are good with. The love's not there anymore. You're right. So you're just two people when you reach this point. And when you're shouting across a canyon, this isn't arguments. This isn't miscommunication where you guys don't agree, you guys aren't talking to one another um, correctly. It is the fact that you're so far away from one another physically, and then you're not utilizing your dialogue with each other appropriately to fulfill the void of a long distance relationship. And the words that you say to your partner just never quite makes it to the other side. Michael says, "Time for a dog." I, I gotta agree with you on that. The weirdest part about I got one, actually two, and the big one loves hugs. Every time he wakes up, it's a new day for him, and he wakes up like 4 or 5 times a day. And when he wakes up, he comes over and he's looking for more hugs. And every time he wakes up, I'm working. So I have to take a break from work and give them some hugs and then be like, all right, now let me get back to my job. But in a relationship, you have the same long distance. You guys are paired apart, and one of you starts longing for the other one's busy, and now you feel like your partner's pushing you away. Unlike dogs, we're not going to keep coming back looking for that affection, regardless of why it's not there. We're going to eventually start resenting the fact that it's not there and then start retreating from that resentment. So, if any of this is hitting home for you guys, if you've ever felt that ache of being alone in a relationship, that sting of insecurity, or that slow drift, first thing I want you to know is that you guys are not alone. A lot of people go through this and they just don't talk about it. Second, let me know in the comments what the biggest challenge for you has been. Either the loneliness, the trust, the communication burnout. Just put it out there and we'll be able to talk about it. And putting it out there will be a huge step for you. And if you guys are getting some value out of this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button and use the reaction buttons throughout the show because we are about to make a hard right turn because we spent the first half breaking down the why. Why is this all so tough? And now we're about to flip the script and we're going to be getting into the solutions, the smart, sometimes surprising strategies that can turn this whole challenge that your relationship's greatest strength is missing. And we will show you guys exactly what to do and how to do it so that you guys can get a better impact on it. Michael says, got 20 bucks. I didn't get it. I don't got 20 bucks. It'll show me. Actually, the one time the one guy had sent me the 2 jewels. 2 jewels was like 2 cents, and I was like, oh, neat. That was for a conversation. He got it. It was one of those icons in the little gift section, and it was the 100 icon, and he got that, so it showed up in the comment section on YouTube where it said 100 worth 2 jewels. So I went and I looked at the jewels, and You can buy you a pack of jewels. You can for $1, you can get 50 jewels. So 2 jewels is 2 cents or 4 cents, something like that. I was like, oh, cool. But remember, out of 4 cents, YouTube takes half. So I only got 2 cents. I was like, oh, okay. No wonder it didn't show me because eventually they're going to cash those things out. But I really appreciated it. When individuals do comments, special likes, special things, special emojis um, on the platform, it pops up in the comment section that they sent 20, 40, $50 to the thing. And when that happens, then that pops up on the screen in either yellow, blue, green, or something to that effect. That's when I see that the $20 because it'll be up here. It ain't up there. I didn't see it. Okay. Now that all that sounds rough, we were just talking about the first hour, first half hour, because we started on time today. You've got to respect the challenge that you guys are facing with long distance relationships. But I want to hit the scenario right where the core issue is. So let me give you guys some radical ideas. What if the distance, the very thing that feels like it's trying to tear you apart, could be the thing that makes your marriage stronger, more intimate, and more resilient than you've ever thought that it could be before? This ain't wishful thinking. This is a reality for couples who learn how to play the game right. They don't just survive the distance, they come out of it thriving. The whole key is changing how you look at it. Stop seeing the distance as a prison sentence you have to endure. Start seeing it as a um, crucible, a fire that burns away all the fluff and leaves you with something pure and unbreakable. How is that possible, you might ask? Well, distance naturally takes away all the easy uh, relational crutches that we lean on. When you can't rely on a quick hug, a shared chore, or just being in the same room to feel connected, you are forced to build your bond on something much, much deeper. And being forced to be intentional like that can create amazing growth. First, your communication skills can get supercharged. When you can't just kiss and make up, you have to learn how to use your words. Really use them. You have to learn how to say what you feel clearly. And you have to learn how to really listen, not just to the words, but to the feelings behind the words. Couples who get this right often say they feel more connected than when they were together because they've learned to see straight into each other's hearts. Second, you got to build a whole new level of appreciation. You've heard the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's a cliche for a reason, people. The distance filters out all the little day to day annoyances that can get on your damn nerves when you're together. So you stop taking each other for granted. The time you do get to call or a visit becomes sacred. It's precious. You don't waste any of that time on a dumb argument or scrolling on your phone or getting to the next level on your video game. You are locked in, soaking up all the time that you can with this person because it's going to be a while before you come back or before they come back. And that reminds you why you fell in love in the first place. Finally, and this might be the most important one, we got a long way to go, but when you beat this challenge together, you build up a powerful resolve This reservoir of resilience becomes unbeatable. Every weird time zone call you figure out, every lonely night you get through, every reunion you plan, it's another brick in the foundation of a rock solid marriage. So you build a story together, a story of victory. You can look at each other and know we did it. We took on one for the hardest things a couple could face, and we're coming out stronger. That shared win gives you guys a confidence that you can handle anything else life tries to throw at you. So, seeing the distance, if you look at it this way, changes the whole game. It's not a waiting period anymore, it's a training ground, an active, purposeful chapter in your story where you're building elite level communication, deep appreciation, and the unbreakable resilience. So the challenge is the same, but you're not a victim anymore. Your partner and you are on a mission together to build an incredible marriage. So if we're going to treat it this time like the time apart is a project to make you stronger, then just like any project, you need a blueprint. So let me be clear, hope is not a strategy. You can't just wish this thing better. You have to build a framework, a set of rules and agreements that will protect your relationship from loneliness and doubt. This is the hard work you have to do up front. The first pillar is this: you need a game plan, a real blueprint for your relationship. And this is why more than just let's talk every day is going to help you with your ability to be successful. This is about having a serious, honest conversation about the new rules of engagement, where you got to talk about how often you're communicating, and you also have to talk about how you're communicating. Maybe you agree a daily check in and text, but you also schedule two deep dives, video calls a week that are sacred. No TV on, no multitasking, just a real talk. And you have to agree on a response time. It's okay if you can't text back right away, but you need to talk about it as soon as nobody's interfering with your situation, where you're not going to have your partner feeling anxious and being ignored. Michael says 14 to 15 million couples consider themselves to be in long distance relationships in America. Get a webcam. There are so many people. America is huge, and we just got to understand it. America is huge. There are so many people in America right now that travel for work now that the planes are back up. There are so many people in America right now that have long drives, and they're going to feel like, even if they live right next to their partner, that they're in a long distance relationship because they don't have matching schedules. Over 61% of Americans have two jobs. So you're looking at, they don't have enough time for each other. One of the reasons why I tell you guys to prioritize time with your partner. Prioritize that. If you're in a relationship, that is what you need to be working on, your relationship. Lots of college kids are in long-term relationships. Oh yeah. Well, you okay, so there's a lot of Americans that are in long distance relationships due to social media dating. dating apps, you're talking to people across the world, you're pen paling, all this other stuff. You've got people that are going to college that are dealing with their high school crush that didn't make it to college. You have individuals that thought they were going to be together forever. Then they went to two separate colleges and are trying to make it work. You've got all of these things that happens, but after you get out of college, you still have long distance relationships because one of them got transferred out of state, one of them works out of the city. You might have met this person while you were out of town, and now you're trying to make the relationship work from your hometown. It's a lot of different things that happen. And the roughness of this is that you have to find another way. You have to find a way to make that communication more important. So Michael is right. You got to get you a webcam because FaceTiming on the cell phone isn't always where it's at. You guys might have to. Netflix does this shared link thing where you can send somebody else the link to your YouTube and y'all can watch movies together. Um, but that only helps if you've also got a backup webcam somewhere that allows you guys to watch the movie together and then still be able to communicate with one another during the movie. So if you guys want to heckle the movie or have a conversation where you pause the movie and listen to each other talk and stuff to that effect, that is part of it. You also have things like I told a couple of my students about this. I was like, bro, you could kick the video on and y'all could be walking around with the cell phone, set up the cell phone, and you could be in there cooking while the person's on the video. You could be in there cleaning while the person's on the video. You could be, I mean, you don't want to drive while you're on a video call, but you could be going somewhere, catching a bus or riding in the car if you're not the driver and be on a video call with the person and y'all could show them sights and stuff to that effect. There's ways that y'all can live virtually with one another. Y'all can play the same game on the virtual call where they can um they can interact with you while y'all are playing the game, and it's something. It's not everything, but it's something. Michael says, I think long-term relationships are easier today than 20 years ago just due to the internet. Oh yeah. If it is used correctly, yes. A lot of insecurities is using the internet to stalk their partner. But if they follow their partner in an appropriate and respectable fashion, and their partner invested time and effort into making sure that their spouse is being received, then yes, long distance relationships have an easier way to succeed because back in the day when we had pay phones, you didn't hear from your partner until they had change to put in a payphone. Back when pagers were the thing, before sidekicks came out, we you would get a page from your spouse and that was it. Whenever you got to the phone to call them back, you called them back. Before cell phones became a thing, if you wasn't in a location where there was a phone, you couldn't call in. There was no text messages, there was no emails. You had to write a letter and put it in the mail, and if they got it, they got it. Mail took a whole lot longer back in those days. So yeah, communication can be more effective. And so many of these young folks is using emojis back and forward, one word. Like they don't even do complete words. They're doing like anagrams and stuff. They're hieroglyphics. They're sending pictures as messages and stuff to that effect. But you can send a real picture, and communicate with your people that way. And manifest deeper connections. So the most important part of this game plan that has to include the big picture is asking yourself, where is this going? Is this going to be temporary? What's the timeline of this? You know, if you don't have a finish line in sight, the whole thing feels like a life sentence, and that kills your spirit. That's why one of the most powerful things that you can do is always to have the next visit planned before you leave even if it's months away. Having that date on the calendar turns this separation from a forever thing into something you can measure. It gives you goals, and it's going to give you something to be excited about together. Now, one of the hardest parts about these goals is the further away the person is, the harder it is for you to get money together to go out there and go get to them. And that's going to be one of those issues with long distance dating, because when you're in other countries and the cost to get there is a few $1,000s, and you don't have that extra few $1,000s lying around all the time, you can't say that you're going to go out there and come back and it's going to be all great. And if you do go out there and come back the one time, you can't guarantee that you're going to go out there and come back on a regular basis. It's just too much money. And if you're the breadwinner of the relationship, you're making the most money on the relationship, and you're going out there, you can't expect them to come out there on their dollar because they don't make as much as you. So you've got to, he said, are you promoting long distance relationships? Uh, no, actually, I'm not. I'm a fixer. And as a fixer, when there's a problem, I fix it. Uh, on this show, every night of the week, I cover a topic that is related to a common issue that needs to be fixed. That hasn't been fixed. And I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. It could have been fixed. So I take the time to let you know that there is a way that you could fix that. The way a doctor diagnoses a cold, the way a mechanic diagnoses a car, there are issues here that can be resolved. And then I take the time to walk you through how to resolve it. Now, if in the event that somebody's watching the show and they're going through this right now, then that person can take this information and they can benefit from it. But now, if this isn't what you thought you were coming for today, even though the title says long distance relationships and how to fix that problem, you might want to check out what we're talking about with the stock options and the investment portfolios, which is just fine. Which is just fine. More people want to know about how to put money in their pocket, but usually when people get money, they start trying to get into a relationship, men and women alike. He asked me an interesting picture. Well, we just started talking about, we got halfway through the information. I set up a dynamic of this is exactly what relationships struggle with. And the very first thing that I talked about is setting up the blueprint. By setting up the blueprint, you understand the dynamics of how long this distance thing is going to be. Is it going to be a few weeks? Is it going to be a few months? This isn't like you're being enlisted and you're going off to war and you don't know when you're going to come back, because actually, when you get enlisted, they tell you it's a 2 year tour, it's a 4 year tour. So you know how long you're going to be gone. As long as you survive, when you come back, you're coming back. Now, will you enlist again? That's yet to be seen. But if you go out on a tour, you're going to be gone for 2 years, you're going to be gone for 4 years. That's the distance timeline, which is step number one. Find out how long do we have to maintain this long distance scenario. If you're going away, if you're being relocated for a new job for a year, you're going to get everything situated, then you're going to come back and get the rest of your family. That means we got to deal with a long distance relationship for a year. If you started with a long distance relationship, how long is it going to be before either you move to them or they move to you? You're not really going to be able to work that out on the first date. But on the first date, the question is, who's willing to relocate? Because if we hit this off long distance relationship style, we are going to want to gravitate towards one another, whether he moves to her or she moves to him. So, what's the timeline on shrinking the distance between the two of you? That's part of the blueprint. We have to establish that first. Michael says the answer is in the question, the distance. Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, human nature does not do distance. We are pack mentality. And while our pack mentality can have platonic friends in groups, romantic friends, we have exclusivity. We are territorial in our relationships. So our romantic partners, no matter how many guys would not have a problem with having 30 to 50 different girls that they're sleeping with. Each one of those girls that guy has a connection with, and he would prefer that that girl was exclusive to him. Girls have the same kind of mentality. They're male best friends, and they're not going to be looking for that. Um, hold on. Ah, no. Oh, we got a funny a funny joke that came in. So he said, first date, you like McDonald's? Yeah, first date. That's a good question. First date, if you're taking them to McDonald's, but you also have to understand is that if your first date is virtually on McDonald's, where one person is in McDonald's in their country and you're in McDonald's in your country, then yeah, you got your first date at McDonald's. But again, like you said, the to resolve the long distance relationship, you have to bring each other together eventually. And that's one of the things that we have to do. We have to talk about what timeline do we have set to bring this back together? Because today we're talking about marriages. So marriages means that you guys were together from the beginning, and then you ended up separating due to circumstances beyond the controls of your relationship. And now you're trying to maintain your relationship while you're apart from one another. But this does apply to long distance relationships that aren't marriages, where people date each other and then all of a sudden you guys come back. Well, you date each other, you're apart, and then you guys come back and start trying to make things work, or you decide to start coming together to make this work, where you guys are more closely intertwined with one another. It all comes from different angles, but working a long distance relationship, this advice does work in multiple different scenarios. Now, Andrew said, did you hear about the guy who was hit by a can of soda? He was lucky it was a soft drink. I thought that was pretty funny. Special shout out to Andrew for giving us the joke of the day. Usman's got a few of them when he pops in, but he hasn't popped in a minute. Now, when we're setting up this blueprint, this is your constitution. It's what you go back to when things get hard. It kills ambiguity and anxiety with clarity and an agreement. So you have to talk about the tough stuff. What are we most afraid of? What does support look like for you and for me? How are we going to handle a fight when we can't hug it out after the fact? Here's a great rule to put in your plan: a 24-hour rule for misunderstandings. If a text gets taken the wrong way, first thing you got to do is agree that you'll get on the phone or a video call within 24 hours to clear it up. No letting that stuff build up. Don't just let that shit slide. Call your partner, get a clear understanding about it, make sure that everybody's on the same page. And this isn't a one and done conversation. You need to schedule a State of the Union kind of meeting, maybe once a month. Check in, what's working, what's not working. Do we need to change our call schedules? Are you feeling supported? And we're not talking about financial support, we're talking about emotional support. This is how you stop little problems from becoming big ones. And these types of communications are different from the bonding communications. Working out your relationship communication is separate from bonding communications because you need to make sure that the relationship is good. You don't need to be going through the motions. Michael says a pillow. Gotta have one sometimes. Now, this is also going to show you're both committed to steering the ship, not just drifting away. This framework is your anchor. It gives you the stability you need for real intimacy to grow, even across thousands of miles, or in some people's situations, hundreds of thousands of miles. Once you've got that solid framework, now you can focus on the real magic, the moment to moment connection. This is how you fight that silent drift. It's about upgrading the quality of your communication and getting way beyond the boring. How is your day? And I found myself doing this with a couple of my friends every now and again. Um, when we're on the phone, how's your week been? How's your health? Um, but I also know that there was a time, like a couple weeks ago on Thursday, when the stuff happened with the car. First thing I did was talk to my dad because he called while I was driving. He was like, "Hey, what's been doing? Just wanted to check up on you." He ain't heard from me in over 10 hours. So I didn't answer the phone while I was driving. While the car was waiting on the tow truck, I called him. I'm like, "Hey, I ain't got nothing to do right now." So I'm like, "Hey, yeah, I'm alive. I'm good. Everything was fine up until just a moment ago. So truck's coming to get me. Gonna be here about an hour. I should be able to get closer to where you're at in about 40 minutes or so. So, you don't have to worry about it. Everything's gonna be cool." Right? Then after that, I called a friend. I haven't talked to this friend in a while. When I called the friend and I let him know, hey, you're not sleeping, are you? No, no, cool. Hey, you know, he's like, "What's up?" Nothing. You know, I'm having some deja vu moments. Remember that one time we went to Miami? See, look at the kind of conversation I'm having. It's a deep, meaningful one. Remember that one time when we went to Miami? Yeah, we had that moment where we ran out of gas on the interstate. Yeah, yeah, the car looks like it ran out of gas again. He's like, "Oh, snap." And we're having laughs about it. And we're talking and we're shoo shooing and stuff. And then we were on the phone for almost the whole time waiting on the truck. Then when the truck shows up, and then he hears them loading the truck on the thing, he's like, "All right, man, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna let you go." So I hung up the phone. And as we put the thing on the truck, we realized that the car had a mechanical failure, didn't run out of gas. So I texted him and I was like, "Hey, it wasn't me. I didn't make a mistake. The car broke down. So I'm safe. I'm not irresponsible." And he's like, "Really?" And we had a second laugh via text message. This is a perfect example of maintaining a long distance, even a friendship, the same way. Because instead of just calling to complain or calling to check in and say how life goes, I called and I was just like, "Hey, remember that one time we had a good time way back when?" And that helps you think and rekindle and formulate stronger attachments. He said, "Where's the wife?" "Oh, sister's out back in the garden." you know, when you say that, Michael, um, not gonna lie, it's been on my bucket list to think about sisters or twins. It's always like every guy has that bucket list of twins. But like twins in a marriage, fantastic. Fantastic thought. You're cheating and you're not cheating at the same time because they look the same. But you should be able to tell them apart eventually. Michael says a sounding board, someone you can talk with and trust. True, true. Now, next thing we're going to be talking about is that you got to mix up your communication. Don't just text. text all the time. Relying on one thing is like trying to be healthy by only eating chicken. Okay. That's not going to work for you. You need a balanced diet. Each way you talk has its own superpower. So, video calls. Video calls are for heart to heart stuff. Seeing their face, their smile, that's as close as you can get to being there. You need this for deep talks. That's going to be something that you're going to be doing a lot during your long distance relationships. But your voice messages are for personality. The sound of their laugh, the tone of their voice, that is going to carry so much more feeling than a text. It's perfect for telling a quick story or sending a heartfelt "I love you." They can listen to over and over again. Look, here's another thing. When you start talking about video calls and voice messages are not leaving a message on their voicemail. While that does work, a lot of people's phones have the technology these days where you can hold the little microphone thing in the text message section and speak into the text message, and it'll do like a text to voice kind of thing, and then send them like a little 30-second or 3 minute like voice message in the text message thing where they can listen to that whenever they've got time. Texting is going to be for the daily glue. A funny picture, a quick thinking of you. It keeps you in each other's day to day flow. And don't sleep on handwritten letters or a care package, because in a world of screens, something you can touch is powerful. And a letter they can hold, maybe sprayed with your cologne or perfume, or a box with the favorite candies in it. That a real physical reminder of your love that no screen can ever match. Now, Michael says, don't believe everything that he says. I enjoy the humor of life. So don't believe everything that I say. I enjoy the humor of life. That's a good way to word it. So uh Michael's got a lot of jokes, but Michael's got a lot of sense. Michael also comes, so he's got a lot of wisdom in there. So the dry humor, some people don't take it seriously. Some people might take it to heart. If you do take what Michael says to heart, grab that pillow and scream it, and then when you finish, come back and like and subscribe so that we can get back into it. Communication is the number one problem in life. So we will carry our bruised emotions around for life. Yeah, we will. We find ourselves allowing ourselves to be psychologically and emotionally mistreated. And sometimes we lash out on other people with it, but other times we harbor those feelings and suppress those feelings. And then those feelings manifest into different behavior patterns that are not positive behavior patterns, that we then project those behavior patterns onto unsuspecting individuals who have absolutely no idea why we're behaving weird. And that behavior is dismissed. They're having a bad day, something's going on, it's none of my business. But if we change that, where we utilize communication more effectively, not just by actively receiving that communication, but actively delivering that communication, we can work on ways where we're not developing negative behavior patterns to project how we feel in an inappropriate fashion. We could instead project how we feel in a more appropriate and dynamic fashion, which is going to be more effective because less is more. Like I told you, you could spend 10 minutes typing to send a really long paragraph to somebody. Or you could spend 2 minutes saying that exact same message. And a voice call, especially when you're calm, you're relaxed, you're even happy, that voice message gives off a different vibe than a text message. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but when you read an email, when you read a text message from somebody, you use the most negative tone in your mind. And that's why people put smiley face emojis, LOLs in their statements, stuff like that. JK, they put that stuff in there because they don't want you to take their comments negatively. So they have to proactively paint a picture around it, color it in a non-threatening message so that you don't get offended by it. But truth, text messages are perceived in the most negative light. You don't know why they wrote what they wrote, but the tone of voice, that says a lot. Now, the second thing that you guys are going to do is that you're going to have to share the boring stuff. And I know this sounds crazy, but one of the biggest mistakes couples make is thinking every single talk has to be this deep, meaningful event. That's not true. Real intimacy is built in the small, boring details. The reason why we can sit in the kitchen and have breakfast together and talk about how good that total cereal tastes, that boring ass conversation, that's part of the relationship. Existing on the couch, watching a movie together, that's part of the relationship. Michael says, or you could give up 1 hour of sleep per day and improve your life. Or you could just redirect your attention from all the people in your life that doesn't put meaning into it, and then you could put more time towards improving your life. I give you guys 2 to 3 hours of my day every day of the week. I rearranged my entire work schedule so that I could be here for 2 to 3 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is 21 hours a week that I dedicate to you people. And that is during the live podcast. That's not the other 6 hours a day that I put towards the behind the scenes stuff. It's like a full time job with the other full time job. So, since the real intimacy is built in the small, boring details, when you live with someone, you know their dumb little habits. You know about their annoying coworkers because they're going to bitch about them when they come home. You have to recreate that. So don't just ask about their day. Ask what you have for lunch. Tell me something that happened at work. Or even better, try silent FaceTime. You're both on video, just doing your own thing, working, reading, whatever. You just called to see the other person and hear what they're doing. It's a way to just be together without the pressure of talking. It creates a shared life. I got to tell you, this is one thing that I have usually done in relationships by accident. Reason being is that if she calls when I answer, either she's hanging up or the phone's got to die. And usually my phones are plugged up all the time. So it's less likely the phone will die on my side, unless I have a power outage. We could be on the phone for 12 hours, but I will not hang up that phone. Now, what that does is that if we run out of things to say, we're listening to each other breathe. We're existing around each other. We can fall asleep on the phone and then I can find out that she snores. But if she's snoring and I decide to Read her a bedtime story while she's snoring. Now my voice is in her subconscious mind, formulating yet another bond. Think about it now. That bowl of cereal, eaten out of a Cool Whip bowl, stained with spaghetti. Wait, we gonna go one more step further. You done put a whole cup of sugar into your bowl of cereal, and you're eating it with a plastic spork that also has those spaghetti stains on it. I'm gonna tell you, that's the lick. He said, "No, it sounds needy. It's not. This is the thing, Mike. If you are not with your see, that type of behavior sounds needy when you're in the same house. You left, you went to work, you're gonna be back in like 8 hours. She calls you, and she's just on the phone, just to be on the phone. That's not what this is about. What I'm talking about is like she's in another city, she's in another state, she could be in another country. She calls, you don't got anything going on right now, and you just stay on the phone. This is how you're able to formulate stronger bonds long distance. He says, I'm comfortable being by myself. The older you get, you're 70. So yeah, you're supposed to be comfortable with being by yourself. You're supposed to be comfortable with hanging out with the Grim Reaper paying mahjong. That doesn't change the fact that that doesn't change the fact that in strengthening the connections with living people, that existing with them works, and existing with them virtually works. So if, say, my wife was in the room with me waiting on me to get off the podcast, she's listening to me talk at the computer for a few hours. We're in the same place at the same time. She doesn't have to say anything to me in this scenario. And the fact that she's able to hear my voice is gratifying enough. Likewise, in a video call or a phone call where you guys get on the phone just to be in each other's uh existence, then you're listening to what the other person's got going on. You video call, you're watching them cook dinner, they're watching you read the book, or they're listening to you as you read the book, stuff to that effect where you guys are bonding through time. Because you have to remember, there's a love language called personal space, quality time, right? Hovering in the existence of another person. That's a specific love language. You ain't got to say nothing. You just got to be in the same place at the same time. And if you're doing that virtually, you can still validate the love language of quality time, of personal space. You can't validate the physical touch from a virtual call. But right now, we're talking about that particular area there. Michael said, I thought she was calling every 5 minutes. Oh, no, hell no, 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 no. I don't do that. You can call me every 5 minutes and I'm not answering. I'm not answering. I'll answer the first time. I will text you about it the second time. And the rest of the time, you just got to wait till I get back. If I got stuff to do, okay, I have a more consistent connection with the people I play virtual chess with than what I have with people that text me on a daily basis. And the people I play chess with is a 3 day turn. That means I take a turn and you've got 3 days to take a turn. And I've got 3 days to take another turn. Because eventually I'm going to connect to you. Eventually I'm going to respond to you. And eventually you're going to respond back. But every 5 minutes, nah, that's asinine. That, yes, I agree with you. That sounds needy. That sounds too needy. If she's calling you every 5 minutes, my first question is, why the fuck you didn't come with me then? Shit. All this dang calling. She's probably happy you're in the other room. Now, here's going to be a master level. Listen to understand and dare to be real. You guys are going to love this part. This is the direct cure for feeling disconnected. Oh, you say we need to play chess? We got this and that in the we've got I do believe we got the chess game in the profile, but I don't know. Let's see. Let me see if I can grab the thing in there because I've got um Saint Michael. He's playing the game with me right now. Yeah, that's his name, Saint Michael. Let me see. How do we get you got a QR code, share profile. Oh, there we go. There we go. So let's see. Let's see if we can get this into the comment section here. How do we do this? See, these things don't work as quickly as you would think. You're like, oh man, you just do da 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 da. Nah. So what we have to do is I got to take the game because you're not on the thing, and then I got to put the game put it in the email, and then I got to go draw it out of the. Oop, got to draw it out the other email. Hold on, I sent it to the wrong email, and then I'm gonna send it to you. Then we're gonna get back in here. We're gonna finish talking about the. Why did that one open? That is not the one I wanted to open. I got too many, Red. Not tonight though. Nah. So what happened? I'm gonna send you the link, and when I send you the link, you're going to take that link, you're going to use it to find me on the thread. You're going to take a turn eventually. And then after you take that turn, it's going to tell me you took a turn. And then I'm going to take a turn. This isn't like we're going to sit there for an hour and play chess together. No, 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 no. I might do one move per day. You never know. I got stuff to do. But when you get that notification that I took my turn, you're going to take your turn. We could have a chess game last for a few days, or we could have a chess game last for an hour. Same game, doesn't matter. I'm gonna get uh got us a hyperlink for the. Why have I got all this extra stuff in there? That's not what we want to do. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna get this. And matter of fact, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm not just gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to the guys over. And not tonight though. I'm gonna give it to the guys over on Twitter. So those of you that's on Twitch, those of you that are on Twitter, yeah, y'all can use that link as well. And if you're watching the show after the show plays in real time, it does a playback. Every time we put something into the comment section, you guys get to see it. So you'll be able to see this uh, link to the game on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And you guys will be able to use that link, click that link, download the app onto your phone, whatever, and then send me a friend request. And after you do that, I will be get into a game and see how. You said 2 minute turns. Yeah. In order for you to get me on some 2 minute turns, I gotta have time. I gotta make time for 2 minute turns. I gotta make time for 2 minute turns. I be doing 3 day turns. I'd be doing 3 day turns because a 24-hour turn, I'll run out of time. I'll run out of time. Like right now, um, I sent St. Michael a move like before the show, so like 4 hours ago. At 2 minute turns, I would have won that game. um, it's not about how fast you get through the game; it's the fact that you're playing the game. That's what it is. That's where the bonding comes in. At that's where the quality time comes in. So we're gonna dare to be real now. This is the direct cure, like I told you guys, for feeling disconnected. Now, we always talk about active listening. And active listening is going to mean that when they're talking, you're not just waiting for your turn. You're not trying to get in the next word after they stop talking. You got to remember with active listening, this is a powerful move. And this is going to be the way that you get back um, the information that you give out. You're going to be able to see what you heard. So, a way that you can do this is by saying, for example, okay, so what I'm hearing is you felt completely overwhelmed today at work. Is that right? This type of active listening is a way that makes them feel heard and validated. And you have to match that with intentional vulnerability. So you have to be brave enough to be real instead of the shallow, inconsistent, I'm fine. He said 10-4. It means 2 ears forward. 2 ears forward, both eyes open, face directly at the other person, not looking down on your social media channel, updating your status. When and this area of active listening, I think that a lot of people should be doing on a regular basis, regardless of where they are. When people ask you how you're doing, what's going on, instead of saying I'm fine, try being honest and tell them, honestly, I'm feeling really lonely today, or I'm very frustrated right now, or I'm extremely exhausted today. Just tell the truth. Share your vulnerability. This is not a weakness, it is the ultimate act of trust. And it actually leads you to a more meaningful conversation because the things that have you not feeling fine might actually be the things that you need to talk about with somebody else. So if they have an open ear, you got to do better about listening and not talking over the other person. It's you handing them the keys to your inner world and saying, I need you, or I appreciate you for being here. That's the stuff that builds an unbreakable bond. That's what turns your talks from a listen and list of updates into a sanctuary. Now, we're going to look at a strong plan and great communication as our foundation. But sometimes you got to add some spice, some fun, some flavor back into the mix. This is your unconventional toolkit. So when you asked me earlier how we're going to make this work, this is where we are. Creative plays designed to build shared memories and battle the boredom that can set in. This is how you remind yourselves that you're more than just two people on the phone or just handling a repetitive phone schedule. First up, you need to schedule non negotiable us time. You have to set up regular virtual dates and treat them like they're a meeting with the CEO of your life, right? He said, "Remember to like and subscribe." Off the play chess. We're gonna see how many times that he checkmates me, y'all, because I know that I was playing with Rudolus for a while. I'm gonna have to send Rudolus another match because Rudolus is very good. The guy that I'm playing right now, St. Michael's, he's really good too. But I have gotten him to either checkmate or fold quite a few games in a row right now. We're tied, um, 10-10. And the reason why we're tied right now is because we drew in the last game, and we drew in the last game because he didn't want to make any other moves besides the one move three times, which forced a draw. And I was looking at him like, nah, bro, if you move another piece, you lose it. And that was very interesting to me. He said, bring in the third person. Hey, if we could do there's a four-way chess game that they got on there, and they have like the nuclear explosion thing. I thought that was pretty scenario. um because when you take somebody's piece, it blows up all the squares around it, so you lose more than just the one in the battle. That one really makes you think. Now when you're treating your partner like the CEO of your life, you don't cancel ever. And this type of engagement that you're going to have, this one isn't just another FaceTime call. It's an event. So you got to get creative with it. Watch a movie at the same time. I've talked to you guys about that one before, using a streaming party like Netflix, where Netflix was upward of $1,600 worth of stocks recently. You want to go and grab you some Netflix stock because it's rising in stock. Um, and when you use the party feature, you can just hit play together. Then you'll be able to have laughing or jumping at the same time, uh, in the same moments, which creates real shared feelings. You guys can play games together. I know y'all have some of y'all have video game consoles where y'all can play video games together, virtual games together. And if you have the virtual call separate from the actual game, you can see each other's reactions while you're watching the game, and that gives you guys um, a more enhanced interactive play style. Aside from board games, aside from video games, you got board games that you guys can play together virtually. Connect Four, checkers, chess, shoots and ladders, stuff like that. Cook the same meal together. This one is actually very good. Now, I was telling you to watch each other cook and stuff to that effect, but y'all could be at the house, at two different houses at the same time on a virtual call, cooking the same meal together. Get a recipe. You both of you get the same stuff and cook over the video chat. Then you can sit down and eat the same meal together miles apart. This is a fantastic thing because a lot of people don't cook together to begin with. Either he cooks for her or she cooks for him, and then the other person waits for the food to be brought to them and they eat it. But if y'all cook together in person, y'all can cook together apart, and that formulates a stronger bond. Take a walk together. Remember, I was telling you about being on call with somebody and not hanging up. You could take a walk together. Both of you pop in headphones and get on the call and walk around your own neighborhoods, describing what you see. If you're doing this with a video call, you can show each other your neighborhoods and compare sites. It's a simple way to share a piece of the world that you're currently living in. So, as I've mentioned, playing online games, whether you build something together or competing in a board game, your these uh, uh, abilities to play with one another brings back that sense of fun that can get lost in all these serious talks that you have, because you have to have diversity. You can't always have that deep, involved emotional vulnerability talk, and you can't always have that moment of silence. You can't always have that what you've been up to all day long because you're going to feel interrogated, and you can't always have the absence. Trust me on this. Couples who intentionally schedule these kinds of shared activities are building a stronger bond, and it's about creating memories, even when you're apart. Next, send something real. We talked about care packages. Go deeper. Send them one of your shirts that smells like you, preferably a clean one. Make it a little interesting. Get them a coupon book for things you'll do together when you finally reunite. These physical things become anchors to your connection in the real world. Then you can get really creative and build your own private world. Create your own inside jokes or pet names. This is your secret language. It reinforces that special us against the world feeling. Start a shared private blog or Instagram account. I told a lot of my friends this and a lot of my students this as well. That when you're dealing with long distance, y'all could do your own social media channel together and post pictures and memories. If you're doing a private one, no one else can see it. You can leave little notes for each other. Back when we were younger, Michael, we had scrapbooks. Take pictures with the Polaroid. Back when Kodak was the moment. Now everybody's got a screenshot. Everybody's got a a a, a quick, panoramic view of their cell phones. You can create a digital scrapbook using a social media account, and it's the kind of scrapbook that, unless you tank that account, all of your photos and images and everything will be there for years to come. If you listen to the same playlist on your podcast, if you guys have YouTube video or YouTube music, you guys can share a link to the same playlist. Spotify does it. You can listen to the same music from Pandora. This gives you guys something new to talk about and experience together. Adding songs to the list. Try a guided meditation together over the phone. It can be a powerful way to calm the stress of being apart and feeling connected on a deeper level. These creative moves aren't just fluff, they are vital. They are the cure for monotony. They turn the distance from a barrier into a canvas. And you can get to paint a vibrant personal love story on that. So these are the moments of joy that will keep you going. And not everybody thinks about this stuff. So now, even when the best plan, the best communication, and the most creative dates are all put together, there might be times when this whole thing just feels like too much. You might be trying your best, but the emotional gap just keeps getting wider. You might be stuck in the same fight over and over. When you get to the point, one of the strongest, bravest things you can do is admit you need help. So let me be real, and I'm going to be clear about this. Seeking professional help is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're all in. It says this marriage is worth fighting for. And I'm bringing in a professional to help us win. This stigma around couples counseling is fading. And with teletherapy, especially from Trump's, what is it, T phone that he's going to be having, being released late August, early September, teletherapy. You can get a top-notch help from your own living room. No matter where in the world you are, you can find yourself achieving enhancements. A therapist can give you a neutral corner to lay it all out without judgment. They can be a translator when you keep misreading each other. They're trained to spot those toxic cycles that you get trapped in, like when one person but you can also avoid situations where the other feels attacked and is pulling away, which just makes the first person beg even harder. A professional can also help you see if the distance is just shining a spotlight on older problems because maybe one of you gets really anxious and needs more reassurance when you're apart. A good therapist can give you a playbook to handle that and build a stronger, more secure foundation for your own love. Deciding to get help is a powerful move, and it um, is you choosing to fight for your marriage with every tool you get. So if you feel like you are drowning, please make sure you take it upon yourself to reach out for a life raft. It might just be the thing that gets you both safely ashore. So here's the bottom line. We started this by looking at a hard truth that the miles between you are not nearly as dangerous as the silence that can grow in your hearts. We broke down the loneliness, that insecurity, that silent drift that can pull a marriage apart. But then we flipped the script. We found an even bigger truth that this massive challenge holds the key to a massive opportunity, the opportunity to build marriage that isn't just surviving, but is actually thriving. A marriage built on purpose, not just convenience. We laid out the blueprint. You start with a rock solid framework of expectations and goals. You master the real art of connection, moving beyond the boring stuff and daring to be vulnerable. You bring a fun and creative way to keeping the spark alive. This path is not going to be easy. It takes guts, it takes creativity, and it takes a whole lot more effort than it does for a couple living under the same roof. But the prize is a relationship with incredible depth and power, a love that has been tested by fire and came out shining. The ultimate truth about how distance affects a marriage is this: it acts as an amplifier. It will amplify weakness, but it will also amplify strength. It will amplify doubt, but it will also amplify trust. The choice of what's getting amplified is up to you. By choosing purpose over drifting, real connection over just talking, and growth over resentment, you can do more than just survive the miles. You can use them to build a love that will truly last a lifetime. Now, if this show gave you a new way to look at things, do me a favor and give it a like. I want you guys to try to subscribe to the channel for more real talks on relationships and how they work. Make sure that you share with somebody the things that you heard today and give them a link to the channel for the things that they need to improve because nobody should have to do the distance all by themselves. Also, make sure that you stay tuned for some of the stuff that we're going to be having for the rest of the week. We've got a lot of things that we're going to be covering. What I want to say is Since that's all we have for tonight, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm gonna keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, we're about 70% male driven podcast from the male's perspective. I do this to help you guys become higher value men, not only in your finances, but also in your personal life with your decision making processes. The information that I give you is not exclusive to the fellas. So, ladies, y'all can take this knowledge and learn from it and grow to be higher value women as well. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.